fourth graders. I'm back to do some more math this week with you. We're going to be doing two lessons, lesson 4 and lesson 5 this week. And then next week we'll do a little bit of review, and then we'll be able to see if we're ready to move on to the next module. So I just wanted to prepare you and let you know what was happening for this week. We're going to be starting lesson 4 on page 19, so make sure you have your Into Math papers out so you're ready to go. And I'm going to get my camera flipped down, and then I've got to turn it the right way, and then we'll get started. All right, here we go. Okay, so page 19, lesson 4, we are going to be comparing and ordering numbers. So after this lesson, you will be able to compare and order 3 numbers to the 100,000th place. You'll be able to record and justify the comparisons. So I just want to, before we get started, when we're comparing numbers, we use certain symbols, right? And I know in previous grades, you talk about like the alligator mouth and how the alligator mouth wants to eat more. We don't draw teeth in our symbols anymore once we get up to 4th grade. And this symbol, because it wants to eat the bigger number, and the bigger number will be first, is called greater than. I'm going to use those math terms. And this symbol, because it's going to be pointing at the smaller number, and the open end is going to be open to the bigger number, this is going to be less than. And then I am sure you remember this one is equal to. Excuse me, I apologize. So there are our symbols that we're going to keep in mind while we are doing this lesson. And we call them greater than, less than, and equal to. And you always have the open space, the opening towards the bigger number. And you're always pointing, this pointy part, to the smaller number. And the reason why this has opened to both, right, is because they equal one another. So now we're ready to spark our learning. So the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. is the largest library in the world. It has about 700,000 rare books, about 124,000 telephone books, and about 140,000 comic books. How can you compare the numbers to find out which kind of book there is the most of at the Library of Congress? Now, I know probably looking at this, you can probably already see which kind of book is the most. But humor me, and let's think about this and see if we could kind of use maybe a number line to figure out how we would know which is the most. So if I were to use a number line strategy, I would draw my line like that with my arrows. And I don't really want to start all the way down at 0 because I have to go all the way up to 700,000. So because I have an arrow at this end, that means I'm going to keep continuing on. And an arrow down at this end means I'm going to keep continuing getting bigger. If I had drawn, I'll just use a pencil so you can see. If I had drawn it like this, usually that means, right, that we would put a 0 there. Sometimes we will do a 0 here because we could go on less than 0. But for right now, well, I won't erase that. But for right now, these arrows, I want you to know always these arrows show that you're going to keep going on more and more less and more greater than. So what my thought was is maybe we could start with 100,000. And then I would have 200,000. 300,000. 400,000, 500,000, 600,000, and 700,000. Oh, I could go bigger too, right? I could go 800,000. But I know I definitely need to go at least up to my 700,000 number. So looking on my number line, I can see that I could place my numbers there somewhere. So 700,000 we know is going to go exactly right here where this 700,000 is. And I know that this is the rare books, right? Is exactly 700,000. I have 124,000 telephone books. Now, in between my 100,000 and my 200,000, right in the middle would be 150,000. So I know this is less than that. It's actually going to be closer to in between where 150,000 and 100,000 would be. So about right here is going to be my 124,000, and this is my telephone books. And then I have 140,000 comic books. So again, remember I said that this would be like right directly in the middle. So it's going to be just a little bit less than directly in the middle. And that would be 140,000. And that would be comic books. Now, yes, I know looking at those numbers, you probably could have went, boom, I know which one is the correct answer. But this visual helps us really see how much more we have of one type of book than another type of book. So the rare books really do have quite a bit more than the telephone books and the comic books. So the Library of Congress has the most rare books. And we can see that visually with our number line. Another way that I could compare these numbers is to compare the place values. So I could also have written 700,000, then I have 124,000, and I have 140,000. And I'm always, when I compare my numbers, I'm always going to start in my greatest place value. So I'm always going to start, for this grouping, is in the 100,000s place, but whatever my greatest place value is. And when I look at my greatest place value, I can see that I have a 7, I have a 1, and I have a 1. So which one is the greatest? That would be 700,000. Now, what if I wanted to write these in order from greatest to least? Well, I know that my greatest, again, is my 700,000. Which one would come next? Well, I've got 1s in the 100,000s place, so that doesn't help me. So I have to look at the next place value. And the next place value, I have a 2 and a 4. Well, comparing those two digits, I know that a 4 is bigger than a 2. So my next number would be 140,000. And then obviously my least biggest number is my 124,000. So I just want to set that stage for you for when we get into the next section. We always start with our greatest place value, then we go down to the next place value, and we keep going down until we find two numbers that are different. And then we compare those two digits, and we say, okay, which one is bigger? That's the greater than. So let's turn to page 20. So now we're going to do some building of understanding. So we have the Biscayne National Park, and it is the largest marine park in the national park system. So marine park meaning water park. If you visit, be prepared to get wet because 95% of the park is underwater. Oh my goodness, I think I would love to visit that park. That would be amazing. Each year, visitors explore coral reefs, islands, and mangrove trees. Now, mangrove tree or forests, I apologize. The trees that grow in the mangrove forest are trees that can actually grow in salt water. So it's where like saltwater and freshwater kind of meet, and that's what's pretty special about those mangrove trees. In which year did more visitors come to the park? Now, they didn't give us any information in our problem, right? But what do I notice? I notice over here, I have what looks like a piece of paper on this green background, and I can see that it says Biscayne National Park visitor totals. And in 2014, there were 525,745 people. And in 2015, there were 508,186 164 people. So here's where my totals are. So what question? Is it asking me, in what year did more visitors come to the park? Well, first of all, how could we compare the numbers? Well, we could compare them by looking at place value. Remember what we did on the page before? I was comparing by place value. We started with the 100,000s and then to the 10,000s. We also compared with a number line. So there's different ways. So we could compare with a number line. Or by place value. Either way is going to help us compare our two numbers. So this one wants us to use a place value chart. So we're going to write the number of visitors for each year in the place value chart. So let's look at 2014. We had 525,745 people. And in 2015, we had 508,164 people. So, remember when we were back here, where do we start when we compare our numbers? We start in the biggest place value. So for this number, we're going to start in the 100,000s place. So where do we start? In the largest place value, or the leftmost digit, right? So how can we compare these digits? We're going to first look at the 100,000s place, and we see that they're the same. So I'm going to first start in the 100,000s place. Then go to the right until I find two different digits. So look at, I have the same digit in my 100,000s place. In my 10,000s place, I have two different digits. So I found my two different digits. Which is bigger, my 2 or my 0? My 2 is bigger. So in which year did more visitors come to the park? Well, what year was 525,745? It was in the year 2014. So in 2014, more visitors came to Biscayne National Park. Okay. So that's okay if you don't get to write all of that in there. I'm writing it in there so you can see it visually what we're talking about. All right. So we used a place value chart for this one. It looks like they want us to use a number line for number 2. In 2016, there were 514,709 visitors to the Biscayne National Park. Use the number line to order the numbers of visitors to the park in 2014, 2015, and 2016 from least to greatest. Locate and label the points on the number line that represent the number of visitors each year. So the first thing we've got to do is put our numbers in. Now, where am I going to find 2014 and 2015? I know. I need to look in the previous page, right? We're still talking about Biscayne National Park. We're going to need the numbers from these 2 years and 2016 to fill out our place value chart. Oh my goodness, this keeps, I apologize. It's very fuzzy, so I'm going to focus us again. There we go. That looks better. I think it's because I keep moving around and moving the book. So let's start with 2014. We know there were 525,745. So I've got 500,000, 510,000, 520,000, 530,000. So I'm somewhere in between here. Now, what do I notice about these tick marks? These don't have a label. They don't have a label because they're halfway between these two numbers. So 500,000, halfway between 500,000 and 510,000, this would be 505,000. Halfway between 510,000 and 520,000 is 515,000. Halfway between 520,000 and 530,000 is 525,000. Notice, what is my number here? 525,745. So am I going to be less than 525,000 or more than 525,000? I hope you're thinking more than. So I'm going to go on this side of 525,000. I'm going to go to the right, but I'm not quite at 530,000. So this is 525,745. Now I need to locate 2015. So 508,164. So I've got 500,000. We know this is 505,000, 510,000. Am I going to be to the left, to the less than side, or the greater than side of 505,000? I'm going to be to the greater than side, right? This is 505, so 508 must be here, and it's actually going to be closer to the 510 because we're less than 2,000 away. So this is 508,164. And our last one we need to put on our place value chart, or our number line, is 514,709. So remember, we have 500,000, 505,000, 510,000, 515,000, 520,000. And this number is 514. And remember, I said 15, 515 here. So I'm going to be just a little bit less than, right, my 515,000. So this is 514,709. So now I can see my numbers are all written on my place value chart. So now when I come down to B, where it says write the number of visitors in order from least to greatest, which is what my original problem said, I know I need to go with my smallest number all the way up to my biggest number. So 508,164. Then I will write 514,709. And then 525,745. Least to greatest. Least always means smallest. Greatest always means biggest. And letter C wants us to compare the numbers of visitors in 2014 with 2016. So they've already written our numbers, and we need to use the symbols. Remember, the open face, or the open side, so this one would be less than, this one is greater than, and this one is equal to. Well, if we're comparing these two numbers, we have a 5 first, and then I have a 2 in the 10,000s place and a 1 in the 10,000s place. The 2 says that it is bigger than the 1, so I need a greater than symbol. I'm going to eat the bigger number. But I'm not drawing teeth in, and I'm not drawing an alligator symbol or anything like that. All right, check for understanding. So we are going to use this number line to help us compare these numbers. So if I have 442,910 compared to 424,901, 442 would be past this number, right? 424 would be down here somewhere. So I know that my 4's are the same, And now I've got a 4 and a 2. I know that my 4 is bigger than my 2. So I need a greater than symbol. 420,723 compared to 426,839. I have 4s in the 100,000s place. That's the same. I need to look to the next place value. I have 2s. Oh no, those are the same. So now I have to go to my thousands place. I have a 0 and a 6. My 0 is less than my 6, so I need a less than symbol. And now I need to order these 3 numbers from greatest to least. If I'm going greatest to least, I need the biggest number first. Well, they all have a 7 in the 100,000s place. Whoops, sorry. Then I have a 1, a 0, and a 2. Well, which is bigger? 1, 0, or 2? I really hope you said a 2 because I want greatest to least. So I'm going to write 727,894. So I've used that number, so sometimes I will do this. So that way, especially if I have a lot of numbers to write, I'll cross out 1. So that way I know now I'm down to these 2 numbers. What's my next biggest number? I had a 2, now I need, is it a 1 or a 0? Well, 1 is bigger than 0. So 712,896. And then obviously my last number must be my least number, 702,486. Okay, so now we're getting to the point on page 22 where you're on your own. So if you want to pause the video, try these independently, and then come back to the video to check your answers, that is fabulous. If you want to just stick with me and follow along because you're still a little unsure, you can stick with me and follow along. Okay, number 4. We need to do some reasoning. How can you compare the values of the underlined digits in the number 322,179? Well, I notice that they're both the same digit, right? So how am I going to compare them? Well, how much does the 2 in the 10,000s place, how much is that worth? That is worth 20,000. So the 2 in the 10,000s place is worth 20,000. How much is the 2 in the thousands place worth? The 2 in the thousands place is worth 2,000. So when I compare those 2 numbers, 20,000 is greater than 2,000, right? 20,000 is greater than 2,000. Look at these 2 numbers. 20,000 greater than 2,000. The 10,000s place is always going to be greater than the 1,000s place. It just is, right? It's going to be 10 times greater, which we've learned about, right? That was one of our very first lessons. 10 times greater because it's going up by 1 place value. Number 5. Riley writes the number 840,361. So this is Riley's number. Trevor uses the same digits to write a number greater than Riley's number. Jackson uses the same digits to write a number that is less than the number that Riley and Trevor wrote. What number could each student write? Well, we know what number Riley wrote, so we can just write that on here. 840,361. Now Trevor is going to use all these same digits, and he needs to write a number that is greater than this number. Using all these digits, our possible answers, what could they be? Well, I would definitely have to keep the 8 in my hundred thousands place. I could keep my 4 in the 10,000s place, and my 0 could become any one of these digits, right? Because I need it to be greater than. So I could do a 3 here, then a 0, then a 6, then a 1. I could change this number, or change this to a 3, put this as a 6, a 1, a 0, or a 1, a 0, a 6, or a 1, a 6, a 0, right? You could move any of them around. What other digit could I put in this place, in the thousands place? I could put a 6 there, or I could put a 1 there. Or I could leave it a 0 and change my 3 to a 6. Any of those ways would make this number bigger than, we just need to make Trevor's number bigger than Riley's number using all the same digits. Now, Jackson uses the same digits to write a number, but his number is less than the numbers that both Riley and Trevor wrote. So now I need to go smaller than Riley's number, right? So I don't have to keep an 8 in the hundred thousands place. I could use any of these digits, couldn't I? Because all of the digits are less than 8. So I could do 480,361. And wouldn't that be less than Riley and Trevor? Sure could. I could keep it an 8 and just change my 4 to a 3. Or a 0. Or a 1. I would not want to change my 4 to a 6, though, because then it would be bigger than Riley's number. I could keep an 8, and I could change my 4, or I could keep my 4. I could keep my 0. I could keep my 3, and I could just switch my 1 and my 6 around. And that number would be less than this number. There's lots of different numbers that you could have chosen. Lots and lots of possible answers. You just have to make sure your place values make sense. Make sure Trevor's is bigger and Jackson's is smaller than Riley. All right, we're going to do some more comparisons. So we're going to compare these two numbers, 109,687 with 190,678. So I notice already that I have a 1 in the hundred thousands place. In the 10,000s place, I have a 0 and a 9. Is 0 bigger than 9? No way! So I'm going to have a less than symbol. 587,381 compared to 587,318. Oh man, those sound awful similar. Let's see. A 5 in the hundred thousands, an 8 in the 10,000s, a 7 in the thousands, a 3 in the hundreds. Oh my goodness. An 8 in the tens and a 1 in the tens. There we go. We had to go all the way to the tens place. So my 8 in the tens is greater than my 1. So that means that this number, 587,381, is greater than 587,318. And finally, looking at these two numbers, I hope you can see that these two numbers are equal. Nice job. And finally, the students in Mrs. Edwards' class participate in a 40-book challenge every school year. After they record their book titles, they find the total number of pages read. Pages read. How can you compare and order the number of pages read from least to greatest? Well, I've got a chart here, right? And it shows me the names of the students, the number of books each of them read, and then the number of pages read. So which one of these sections of my chart do I need? I need my pages read. So I want to order them from least to greatest. So I can see that my smallest number is going to be Tara's number of 8,465. My next smallest number is going to be Owen's number of 8,532. And then my biggest number, my greatest number is 8,642. Alrighty, so that is the end of that lesson. I would like you to complete 1.4, the black and white worksheet. That's 1.4 after this one, and turn it into me at school. And then you'll have the next lesson. I will be recording shortly, and you can watch that on a different day, or I don't know how you're doing your learning, but you've got the whole week to get it all done. Just needs to be done by Friday. Alrighty, I will be back with lesson 5 shortly, so whenever you're ready, you can move on to that one. Thanks, guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.